Hello everybody, it's Joe here, and welcome back once again to my F1 23 My Team Career Mode. We are now at Qatar for the Qatar Grand Prix. If you haven't watched the last one from Suzuka, I urge you to go back and give that a watch before you check that one out. This is your last chance to do so before spoilers. Well, we grabbed a podium in Suzuka, so great momentum moving forwards. Let's carry that on here in Qatar. And I'm doing my qualifying lap in Q1. I'm hoping De Vries doesn't impede me too much, but actually, I think we're going to get a nice little tow from him there, and that helps us to the fastest time in the session so far, which inevitably becomes the second fastest, with championship leader Fernando Alonso topping the first session of Q1. And I didn't elect to do a lap in Q3 once we got through, because this track is a tyre killer, and I wanted to save as many tyres as I could for the race. So it will be P10 on the grid for the sprint, but I feel like we do have the pace to move forwards in the sprint, so let's see what we can do.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Stroll, Gasly, Sparkles, Albon, Ocon, Magnussen, De Vries, Helga, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Joe, Sargent, and Liam Lawson. And with preparations almost complete, let's head track.
On the grid for the Qatar sprint race, Russell is on pole, Leclerc is second. What is going to unfold in these 10 laps? It's lights out and away we go. Russell seeming slow away off the start. It's Charles Leclerc who's away like a bullet out of a gun, leading into one. And it's free wide with Alonso, Russell and Verstappen all scrapping away, and it's Russell that just about keeps P2. Verstappen in third, and Alonso at risk of losing fourth to yours truly. We'll see how I did it now as we switch to my POV on the grid in P10. So we made an absolutely stunning start here. Look at that getaway. We have done quite well there, and we've just gone to the inside. Norris just not getting away at all, forcing our way through the inside, and we've gained P5 already, and these three battling is backing them up quite significantly, and I was able to get a better exit as a result of it than Fernando Alonso was, and there we are, slotting into P4. My next target then is Max Verstappen in third, who's trying to get by George Russell. Are we able to take a little look? No, we're not close enough at this stage, but we're currently sitting in fourth. Again, just trying to find a way anywhere we can have a look at the Red Bull in front of us. Russell pulling away from the Red Bull just a little bit actually, so Max Verstappen not seemingly all that quick at this stage of the race, but I'm going to try and have a go at him into turn one, just draining what's left of the battery, and it is going to be a go for turn one. Look how much closer we're getting via the slipstream, via the overtake button. Down the inside we go, and that is a pretty straightforward manoeuvre to move us into third place. Now we're going to target George Russell, who is ahead of us. Are we able to get by the Mercedes, or are we going to have to sit back on this one? Is Russell going to be quicker? We'll see what we can do as we go a little bit deep there. Also, the tyres will go quite quickly as we are on the soft tyres in comparison to Russell being on the medium, so an attack will need to happen quite early if we are to get by the Mercedes, but I think Russell might just have the advantage on us here as he's nearly a second up the road. I'm trying to keep close any way I can, but Russell disappearing off just in front of us, and I think we are going to have to settle for P3 at best. Verstappen, who's also on the mediums now, just starting to come back at me. especially as I run a little bit deep there, so that's not going to help us at all. Verstappen getting ready to have a look as we make a mistake and run deep, and Max Verstappen does get back into P3, so Verstappen getting past us on those medium tyres. These soft tyres are already starting to struggle on lap 4 of this sprint race, so we're really not enjoying them anymore as much as once we were. And Verstappen will be grateful to be clear of me as Sainz and Alonso are behind. But Alonso doesn't appear to be catching us. Sainz, however, is catching by about a second a lap, so we're going to have to watch out for him as he is making his soft tyres work a lot better than we are, as we're going to try once again to have a look at Max Verstappen down the inside. That was never going to work, so we go way too deep into the corner and Verstappen gets back through. Lap 5 now, and Max has got a second and a half clear of us, and we've got a yellow flag in front. Who is dropping out of the race in front of us? I think that's the Mercedes of George Russell. That is George Russell going very, very slowly. His engine's smoking. This engine is a bit too young to smoke, but George Russell dropping out of the Qatar sprint race and promoting us back into P3. That is rotten luck for him. And meanwhile, Alonso's just got everybody behind him, all aboard the Alonso train as Carlos Sainz goes round the outside to take P5, sorry. This is a few laps ago, and then lap 4 coming on to lap 5. It's Lance Stroll in the Mercedes getting past. Alonso is just going backwards here, and Sergio Perez is going to want a look as well. And I think next time round Perez is going to get through. And here is Perez getting through. And Lando Norris, Gasly, Magnussen and Albon also in the mix as well. Alonso, I think, must be carrying some kind of problem as Norris trying to have a look round the outside. It wasn't happening there. And here is Lando Norris getting past Fernando Alonso, who has lost 4 places in as many laps. Russell has also dropped out of the race at this point. And here is Pierre Gasly getting past the Aston Martin. So Fernando Alonso's sprint race turning into an absolute nightmare as Dennis Hauger is trying to make Aston Martin's day that little bit worse by taking on Nick de Vries. Is Hauger going to make this work? He is really fighting the Dutchman here, and we don't actually get to see that because of bad editing on my part. But Dennis Hauger giving Nick de Vries something to think about, as Carlos Sainz giving me something to think about there as I run deep. Sainz still alongside me, and Sainz getting through. I'm off the track. We're banging wheels. This battle just having all the memories of Kubica and Massa coming into play here. And I'm going back after Carlos Sainz. I've got some battery to drain. I've got DRS, so Carlos, I think, might just be a little bit at a disadvantage here. He is at a disadvantage. He goes to cover the inside, but we're going to sweep round the outside on tyres now that are practically screaming. Sainz gives me a nudge, but nothing in doing in that as Sainz gets back past again. This battle really is just a homage to Kubica and Massa. Wheel banging and track extending galore. I go down the inside there and Sainz takes it back. I'm holding on here as we now go down the inside, and once again I'm through, but Sainz up and unders me, and Carlos getting into P3. Oh my goodness me, this is a crazy lap here as we're now coming back at Carlos Sainz. This battle is not over yet. I do not want this battle over. I want P3 back. Let's see if we can get him here into turn 1. Sainz getting out of the way, saw me coming, and that was a good dive up the inside to retake P3, especially when you consider my tyres are no longer there. Sainz just giving me a little love tap wide to let me know what he thought of that. Wow, what a sprint we are having here. This is drama and action all the way, but in the end it's Charles Leclerc who wins out in this Qatar sprint race. Max Verstappen is second. Sainz is still having a go at me for third. I've exceeded track limits again. Sainz is going to try and pull alongside. I've cut that straight off, and it is third for the sprint race in Qatar. 6 points. I won't object too much to that. But oh my goodness me, my tyres were just screaming at me at the end of that. There was nothing left of them. They were gone.
The best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Let's have a
So there's
look
Leclerc then
at the
up top for the sprint. Verstappen second, we're third, then it's Sainz, Perez, Stroll, Norris and Gasly rounding out the top 8. Alonso's day of misery, ending him in P11.
Welcome to Qatar. And hello from the desert rain. Well, there's not been much rainfall, but it's concentrated right here and just in time for the Qatar Grand Prix. So we're back here in Losail, and this is the track map. 3.34 miles, 16 turns, and just one DRS zone out of turn 16. It's already a fast and flowing track after all. There's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS, though, through the long straight and into turn 1. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sparkles, Sainz, Perez, Stroll, Norris, Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Fernando Alonso, De Vries, Hauger, Bottas, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Joe, Ocon, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
It was a promising show of pace in the sprint. Can we carry that on in the feature? It's lights out and away we go here in Qatar. We got a great start off the line and we're already ahead of Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz is having a look round his outside. Is he going to be able to make it through? I don't think he does. But we have moved up into P2 and already starting to apply just the smallest amount of pressure on Charles Leclerc. It's Leclerc, myself, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz in the top 5. So Sainz losing out in turn 1 actually after going wheel to wheel with Verstappen, and Sergio Perez making his way through. And look at us staying with Charles Leclerc towards the end of the first lap. And you know what? If we can stick with him, I fancy maybe trying to get a run into turn 1 on him, because I feel like that's going to be our best and only chance to overtake the Ferrari driver. We're now getting closer, draining the battery, trying to get a toe into 1. Leclerc says the fastest lap, and we're going to dive down the inside of the Ferrari driver. Leclerc giving us the room, thankfully seeing us coming. And what a dive up the inside that was. It was a late commitment, but we made it work. And that is an overtake that Daniel Ricciardo would be proud of. It was a now or never move on Leclerc, and we are leading the Qatar Grand Prix now on lap 2 out of 29. So let's hope we can hold this lead. There is a long way to go in this race and a lot of tyre management to be done. But at the moment, it's the end of lap 2 and we are leading. But Charles Leclerc might have a go at me into the first corner, so I'm going to drain the battery to try and defend him. We set a fastest lap as well. DRS is enabled, so we do want to try and maybe get a small gap to Leclerc if we can. And Leclerc and Verstappen are still right behind me. And in fact, Leclerc's got the gap down at the end of lap 3. He's going to have a go down the inside. I'm cutting that straight off. Leclerc trying for the outside. It's just not going to happen there, though. And we hold on to the lead. But we are now creating a bit of a train behind us, because I just don't seem to have a massive amount of pace in race trim here. And now look at this, I've got 3 cars snapping at my heels, not just one. Leclerc, Perez and Verstappen. How is that going to work out? I brake a little bit later. Leclerc is forced wide and he drops behind both the Red Bulls, and Sergio Perez in P2 behind me on the soft tyres, so I'm a little bit worried about him. But I'm hoping those softs wear out soon and that we're just able to use that to get ahead of Perez. Perez going for the outside now as we head down the straight. Perez getting it done, but are we going to be able to brake later than the Red Bull driver? Yes, we are, but we've gone a bit too deep. And Perez now trying to force his way through the outside. Perez holding the line well, but it's just not happening. And Perez goes wide. And we're still holding the lead on lap 10. But Leclerc has dropped back. And here we are on lap 10. We're watching Leclerc. Oh, Leclerc's gone round! Charles Leclerc has spun here in Qatar. And that is a crucial mistake for him to make. And I think that might bring out a safety car with Leclerc blocking the track. Are we going to see a safety car? No, we see a red flag. Oh, that's interesting. Ideally, I would have liked a couple more laps before that red flag was flown. I was trying to get to lap 14 to take on hard tyres and hope that they'd go to the end. But from lap 12, I'm going to be honest, that is so marginal. I don't think they're going to do it. But we're going to try anyway. We're going to stick on a set of hard tyres and we're going to try and get to the end from there. That is ambitious, but we're going to give it a go. It's lights out and away we go then for the restart. Carlos Sainz, who was second at that point, does not get a good restart at all, and he has dropped down to P5 from P2, and it's Perez, Stroll and Albon in the Haas up into fourth. So a very strong showing for Alex Albon, who's now fighting Lance Stroll and I believe getting ahead of Lance Stroll. Alex Albon on this restart is just out for blood as Perez has a look down my inside, committing very late as I turn in, and Perez is now going to have front wing damage, so he's going to limp back to the pits. And we're now watching a Haas of Nico Hülkenberg retiring from the Qatar Grand Prix. An unfortunate end to the day for him as he cruises it back towards the wall. Unfortunately, after doing some maths, the tyres were not going to make the end. They would be at least in the 90s percent-wise, and that would be puncture territory, so I elected not to risk it. We're 4.5 seconds stop though, with problems changing the tyres. Seems to be the story of the season because we've had that so much where there has been an issue changing the tyre, but we're back out on track now, and albeit in stone dead last, but I'm going to now use the fresh tyres and just absolutely take the life out of them to try and gain on people. And by the end of the lap already, we've gained on Oscar Piastri as we go around the outside of the AlphaTauri and set ourselves up for Logan Sargent, which we're going to do before we even get DRS. So Logan Sargent is overtaken, and next up is going to be Zhou and Lawson ahead. The amount of pace we have in comparison to the others, surely we can still claw back some points from this race. Right, now on the back of Zhou Guanyu, who is doing a good job of blocking me there, but down the inside we go. The traction advantage we have just allowing us to easily get by as we now target Liam Lawson. And again, we're catching him pretty quickly as well, though going a little bit deep there isn't going to help our cause. But here is Lawson. Here we go down this, well, I wouldn't say it's a straight, but we're now using slipstream here. Can we get past into this little flat section of circuit? No. So we're having to just back out a bit here. And on fresh tyres, that section is flat. Not so much on worn tyres, but now we're coming up to the back of Lawson. Which way do we go? Down the inside, and that is P15 for us. Next up are Bottas and De Vries, and their tyres are going to be feeling pretty second best as we complete a lap time in the 123s, despite navigating other cars. Here we are now, then we've got Bottas, Hauger, and I can't see who's in front of them. We're going to have a look at Valtteri Bottas down the inside of this very fast right, and Bottas goes out wide, but I think Bottas has got a car problem anyway because he's going very slowly. So Bottas, I think, blowing up there just as we got past him, and now we're going to have a look at getting past Dennis Hauger. Bottas is out of the race then, so obviously an engine issue coming into play there, and I'm hoping our teammate isn't going to make this one too difficult for me. as we're now alongside Dennis Hauger. Come on, mate. Just give it up. I'm faster. Yep, we're through, and Hauger trying to fight me down the inside there, but it's not going to happen. Right, next up, Nick De Vries. Can we take him round the outside there? No, we cannot. De Vries' defence quite well. But now we're going to go down the inside of the next corner and past the Aston Martin. Oh, batting it out the way a little bit there, but we have got him. And here is Liam Lawson retiring from the race. So Lawson, who we were also fighting out, that's great and all, but I was hoping someone in front of us could drop out of the race. And we're now up into P12, catching Yuki Tsunoda. And you know what? We're going to be passing Yuki Tsunoda. We've got 2 laps to catch, 3 seconds on Esteban Ocon. But these tyres aren't feeling as good as they did when we left the pits. But I still feel like we could catch him with the performance advantage we have. 3 seconds is the gap. What can we do? I am literally giving it everything and just destroying these tyres to try and make this happen. But I think Esteban Ocon might just be safe, which is unfortunate. The strategy today really didn't work out, and I'm surprised those on the medium tyres, the AI on the mediums, didn't pit in again, because they must be screaming towards the end of their life. But it's Carlos Sainz who wins the Qatar Grand Prix, and with a strategy that just didn't work out for us, it's P11.
The fans go wild for their champion under the desert night sky here in Qatar. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Some days are your day, some days just are not. This is not our day, but there are positives to take from the Qatar Grand Prix. Namely, our pace seemed pretty strong. Just a shame that the strategy wasn't. But P3 in the sprint was encouraging. The fastest lap, and look at that. Despite having to pit, we were only 12 seconds off the lead. That just shows how close in pace everybody was during that race. But still, we did manage to pick up some points in the sprint, and the car is moving forwards, the car is getting better, so I think moving forwards there are positives to take from this one. But Fernando Alonso carries on his lead in the championship, Verstappen is now second, and Carlos Sainz is muscling his way into contention. Thank you for watching this instalment of Career Mode. Don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new and you want to see more content from me. Until the next time, TTFN and ta-ta for now.